Another series, another matchup, another story to be told, guys. And one of our protagonists is spawning in the bottom right hand corner as the Red Terran, playing for KaiZ Gaming. This is Innovation.
And spawn here at the top left, he is the blue Zerg player playing for Alpha X. It is RAGNAROK.
Always feeling a little bit more at home with a Zerg player being in the game.
Oh man. Yeah, it's understandable. You play the race, you understand the matchup a bit more. You understand the interactions between units, the strategies.
I still do feel like the matchup I understand the most is TVP, just because I casted so many TVPs in my life. It's my favorite matchup by far. Like, it doesn't even come close to any other. But TVC is the second one. Still, TVP is just my absolutely favorite. There's no denying that. And just by the amount of TVP I've watched throughout my life, I cast throughout my life, I do have a very strong feeling about how much I can understand that matchup. This is a little bit more of a simpler matchup, I'd say. Not really to play, more to understand. It's more of a macro battle than anything else. And with one player trying to be reactive as the Zerg, the other trying to be a little bit more proactive as the Protoss, as the Terran, sorry. So yeah, it does feel like home because I do love my favorite race, which is Zerg. But it still feels like it's a little bit less strategy dependency and more on the actual micro skill of the players.
Yeah. All right. Looks like the Reaper will go ahead and dive on into a natural. Doesn't get too much damage done as no drones or lings has died so far. So good micro there by RAGNAROK. Destin one in the chat. He is a unicorn because he says he likes it best when the same race fights. So he actually likes mirror matchups, which I have never, or I have rarely ever heard, if ever, someone liking mirror matchups the best.
I mean, like, ZVZ and PvP are third and fourth of my favorite matchups, and ZVZ is my favorite matchup to play. I absolutely love ZVZ.
Yeah, ZVZ can get interesting at times, for sure. But man,
PvP is just a mess.
Yeah.
And that's a lovely mess at that.
Yeah, those Knee versus Australia PvP games are some of the best,
yeah.
I would say. TVT though, that's like my least favorite matchup. So
me too.
Yeah. Okay, so he says he likes mirror matchups most because both sides have the same pieces. Okay.
Yeah, just like chess, but both players have a knife in their hands.
Or guns in the TVT.
Or guns, yeah. Guns that don't shoot close, shoot only at wrong range, though.
One day, I mean, I'm sure this is never gonna happen or anything, but I was like imagining maybe they could make a new unit for Terran that shoots bazookas or something. And I mean, it would be a cool animation effect, I would imagine. But yeah, it would do a lot of damage, I suppose. I mean, it's kind of like the Ghost a little bit, but Ghost is more of a nuke than a bazooka.
Yeah, like maybe like Taurus a little bit more like bazookas.
Oh yeah, that's true. But I want like a missile like shooting out or something.
What you mean, Dusty? You cannot accuse the other side to be OP. Did you know that Terran has 100% win rate in TVT? That's OP, man.
That's true. Can't deny that. Can't argue with that, man.
Anyhow, we do have ourselves a very standard game this far. Both players really going for the absolutely most, quotes, normal playstyle in this matchup. And therefore is the perfect map to do that. We see Ragnarok taking a 4th base, taking a 5-minute lair, very standard timing with his building nest already up for defensive purposes, while Innovation is right now getting the pieces he needs to set up some early aggression, harassment, and slowing down the Zerg player a little bit before you can get out of control. So I do feel like Innovation is about to get some stuff going while keeping creep a little bit less of a problem.
Alright, looks like Ragnarok trying to spread the creep, but Innovation doing a pretty nice job cleaning them out, not making them spread as far as possible. Just kind of being active with those mobile Hellions and Reaper.
Yeah, not losing any of those as well.
Yeah.
Still, Queen's oftentimes very well positioned by Ragnarok. One of his strengths is actually his positioning with the army. So, not actually surprised to see these Queens always ready to greet the Hellions. But this is a little bit more than he can chew, probably. That's a lot of Hellions.
Yeah, it is indeed a lot of Hellions, and the army is actually fairly close to being done, so we might actually see them turn into Hellbats as soon as this attack commences.
Yeah, and that's an interesting attack on the side of Innovation, with tanks being dropped in and sieged up right outside of the first base range. Billings trying to get close to this army, gonna get a couple connections. Not much going on. Whoa, so many aliens ready to defend these tanks. The tanks are actually surviving. These aliens absolutely annihilated the links that Ragnarok had in position. The Spire is going up, but it's not coming up anytime soon. No mutas for a little while at least. And these aliens really keeping up with the aggression. Billings finally finding the connections that Ragnarok needed. And it looks like this army is going to be cleared. But Innovation is already sending back reinforcements. +2/+2 just started by the Terran player. And there's still a pretty strong army that is trying to get at his 4th base of Ragnarok.
Yeah, in fact, they're the army supply lead here for Innovation. It's going to come down to a lot of great Baneling connections in order to clean this up. A lot of the creep has receded though, so he is definitely going to have to attack pretty soon. More Banelings on the way, but there's no links to get the wraparound though.
Oh yeah, the Queens are doing a great job at stowing this army away. Medivacs are not really healthy right now. Some of them are actually falling. More Banelings are incoming, but the Mutas are the real MVPs of this defense, I feel. The Medivacs are not gonna escape anywhere close once these Mutas finally come out, and they are indeed clearing what's left. Finally, the rest of the Marines comes from the main base of the Innovation for the reinforcements. Mutalists not really focusing down the Medivacs, and that's a deadly mistake. In the bottom right hand corner, leading the series here on Lightshade, second set of this best of 5. Can he make it too? He plays for Kazi Gaming, and he is Innovation.
And spawning here at the top left, he is blue Zerg player representing Alpha X. Give it up for Ragnarok. Alright, looks like a TVZ here on Lightshade LE. Of course, this is one of the smaller close distance maps from base to base. We'll see if both or either of these players takes advantage of it. Because of it, I would assume maybe Ragnarok takes the triangular dirt base. But it does get a little bit more difficult to defend against drops because of that. So it'll be interesting to see if he does take it or whether he takes the 9 o'clock vertical base.
It's always a little bit of a gamble. Do you want to deal against tanks in a very obnoxious positions, or do you want to take the most open base, which works out in favor of Zerg, of course, but be always scared about those drops? And that's why Zerg is the reactive race. That's why Zerg is the defensive race. Because in these scenarios, you need to already anticipate what is going to be the game plan of your opponent. And honestly, on a short map such as Lightshade, it makes a lot of difference, but it's a lot harder to make these kind of predictions.
Yeah, for sure. Alright, Reaper will be making his way across the map. Last game didn't find any damage, really. Let's see if he has better luck this time around.
Oh, yeah, that one drone doesn't fare very well. Very clean extractor trick to keep the one drone alive. The other one is gonna be murphing into a spore crawler. And yeah, that's 2 safe drones.
Yep. Perfect clean defense here by Ragnarok, as expected. But he does, Innovation does scout the third base on the bottom with that Reaper, and oh, might actually get himself a little bit stuck here. I'm not sure he can get out safely.
Yeah, he's going to be cleared, and another very good catch by Ragnarok. This doesn't really do too much for any of the 2 players. Losing that one Reaper means he's not gonna have any much confirmation. That can hurt because there is a Roach Warren. It's all about how Innovation decides to tech up in the next few stages, but a Roach Ravager, a Ling attack, can be very deadly on an map as short as Lightshade is.
Yeah, and especially since Innovation actually took an early third base. So he is not going to have a lot of units on the ground, and he is definitely going to have to support some bunkers down in the low ground in order to defend against this. Innovation has yet to scout the Roach Warren, and remember, Ragnarok has taken the triangular third base, which means faster reinforcement points, and which makes the attack deadlier. And oh, nice little scout here of the Roach Warren while taking down a 4 drone as well. So kind of putting a little bump into this attack here.
Yeah, it is a very good catch. We've seen Ragnarok not droning for quite a while. We're gonna be starting the drone production back up after being scouted. Not gonna fully commit on this, but he's still gonna send a heavy amount of Roach and Ravagers through the map. Aliens are gonna scout this army moving out. And probably, without that scout happening, there would have been also Queens walking through the map. And that would have been a much deadlier early. This time it's just a little bit of harassment. And we'll see how Innovation fares against that. Still, more drones actually falling. That's not very good. 2 aliens at 2 different times have brought the worker count to 33 for Ragnarok. But now these Roach and Ravagers are currently striking. The bunker is not even focused down by Ragnarok. He's just trying to get into the nature, trying to get into the production. The Banshee, of course, for defense is a great unit in this scenario. Not much will go on this aggressive side. He's gonna get some SCVs, but that's all that Ragnarok can get against the Banshee, really. Very solid defense by Innovation in the end. And now the 1 alien and the Banshees are gonna keep these Roaches outside of the main base of Innovation. Still, 50 workers to 43. Ragnarok has recovered from his losses, but I don't really feel like he's ahead. It's 3 bases against 3 bases, and that's most often a death sentence in TVZ.
Yeah, I feel like if he did not lose those additional drones to the Hellions, I think I would like Ragnarok's position a lot more. But I mean, he's in a decent, okay-ish, still in terms of the economy. But like you said, he's still on 3 bases versus 3 base. I would love to see him get a 4th base very soon, especially knowing that he kind of cleaned up a lot of these Hellions across the map. So there's really not much to worry about. But although he does need to worry about these 2 Banshees that does have cloak.
There's still spore crawlers pretty much spread everywhere. There's bound to be some losses. You cannot save drones. They're gonna be one shot. You cannot do much about it. You don't have heavy amount of Queens at this stage of the game. But honestly, 8, 9, it's probably starting to get a little bit too many. That's why connecting spores, those spore crawlers in between your bases, are so important. These Banshees are both going to survive. They are both going to be repaired. And they're going to be still a threat to the economy of Ragnarok, which is still on 3 bases. Like, this game is getting a little bit out of control for Ragnarok.
Yeah, and I mean the army supply is heavily in favor. Exactly doubled the army supply of Ragnarok for their second there, and also the creep tumor on the third base. I mean, starting to spread right now, but it's kind of a little bit late there. You tend to want to be by the midpoint, the halfway points by now. But he has yet to spread those creep tumors because he's so focused on so many other things that he's kind of forgotten about it.
Yeah, he's gonna drop an infestation pit. He's gonna try to get to Hive Tech as quick as possible. That's honestly a very good choice. Once Viper hit the map, it makes a lot more difficult for the Terran to actually deal any serious damage. But that is still a long way, and there's not much going on for defense. As we've been talking before, this base is very exploitable with drops, and now Innovation dropping into the main. There's a lot of Ravagers trying to rain down the piles, almost gonna catch one of the Medivacs, but still, there's gonna be some very free kills for Innovation, who's sending the 2 Banshees back in for more damage.
Luckily for Ragnarok, he does have a couple, or a Queen and an Overseer parked there. Will be able to push these. Oh, nice! Actually, gets one Banshee there.
Yeah, that was pretty nice. Innovation focused to try and strike on the other side, but now there are roaches spread in between all of the utmost bases of Ragnarok. So Innovation needs to bring a little bit more might into his Ras parties to start slowing down Ragnarok a little bit more. Hive in the making, as well as an Hydra Den. Ragnarok will have the pieces he needs to defend, but there's still going to be probably almost 2 full minutes of full map control for Innovation.
Well, Ragnarok does lose his 2 queens there, unfortunately. So less queens there to transfuse or to spread creep. And another, the original ragtag group of Marines, gonna once again harass this dirt base here and abuse the cliff area, but nice, well-positioned roaches there.
Yeah, I'm a little bit more concerned with the attack in the bottom left. There's only links to greet this. Final Ravagers are catching up, but yeah, creep is the real problem for Ragnarok. It doesn't have any way to establish any amount of map control, and that's seriously crippling him. With Lurkers, it's gonna be a little bit easier to establish some defensive positions, but Innovation is getting to the sweet spot of a bio army. He has enough tanks, he's gonna have +2/+2, and he has enough Medivacs to go for a full-on attack, and he's gonna do exactly that. 3 Vipers in the making, they're not gonna have a lot of energy, they're actually not gonna have probably any, and this is the perfect timing for Innovation to do this attack. This is going to be almost impossible to deal with Ragnarok. He needs to buy a lot of time for his Vipers to be out, and even then, it's gonna be so incredibly difficult to deal with this army of Innovation in the hands of such a strong player. A steam forward, gonna try to dive on top of these Ravagers, gonna get so much damage done. Of course, Ragnarok's supply is plummeting, and now even without the tanks, Innovation just absolutely destroying the army of Ragnarok on creep. And there's probably not much more to defend for the Zerg player. The first Vipers are gonna just fly straight past this army of Innovation and still going to survive. The rest of the army is catching up for the Terran player. Production trying to keep it up for Ragnarok, but there's just not enough stuff. Innovation takes game number 2. We're on Oxide, he's the Red Terran, he plays for Kazi Gaming, he needs 1 game out of 3 to get into the finals. It is Innovation.
And Spartan here at the top right. He is down 0-2, needs to win 3 straight in order to have any hopes of advancing to the finals. Can he do it? He's from Team Alpha X. It is Ragnarok.
It does feel heartbreaking, but Innovation is, as often he does, just playing his best StarCraft. This man is a machine. It's impossible to break him. And Ragnarok needs to do some serious work to get 3 in a row from such a cold and calculated player.
Yeah, we're talking about one of the best Terrans in the world for not just 1, 2, 3. I mean, this is for multiple years, as maybe 5 or more years.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think ever since Heart of the Swarm, he's been one of the best Terrans in the world. So you don't become one of the best Terrans in the world for that long for no reason at all. This guy is crazy, crazy scary to play against. Now, Innovation, he, in the past couple of years hasn't really gotten the results that he probably wanted. He always kind of tends to, let's say, reach like the round of 8, maybe the round of 4. But he always gets like knocked out by one of the top tier players, maybe a Sero or maybe a Maru or TY, something like that. And it hasn't been the best years in terms of winning championships for Innovation, but he's still scary and strong nonetheless.
Yeah. Some of the most memorable series of the last few years honestly have come from Innovation. I do remember some Innovation versus Cyril games that are really crazy. So he has been for a long time probably the only player who was able to put up a fight against Cyril. Those 2 years in which Cyril was basically unbeatable, I do remember him losing only to Stats and Innovation. He didn't lose to anyone else.
Maybe.
And that says a lot about Innovation.
Yeah, for sure. I mean,
he lost 1 series against Raynor, and then he lost 2 series against Innovation and 1 series against Stats, and that's the only 4 series that Cyril lost in 2019.
Oh wow!
If I remember correctly.
And that's when like Cyril was still in his heights, or his peak rather.
Yeah.
All right, once again, Ragnarok taking the triangular base here.
Yeah, I don't feel like this time is much for aggression, more just to try to have some countermeasures against the aggressive playstyle that Innovation is bringing to the table.
Oh, someone in the chat, Graveyard, saying he lost to Maru in his peak as well. All right.
Lost to Maru?
Yeah, what? Maybe.
I do remember him losing to Maru in 2018, early 2018. I don't really remember another series though. I remember the one game in GSL versus the World.
Yeah.
Was like a 40 minutes game that Cyril won.
And
yeah, but yeah, he lost 1 series to Maru in 2018. Yes, like in Katowice, I think.
Yeah, and then it was like a long time. Everybody was waiting for the rematch of Maru versus Cyril, but it didn't come for a long time until the Kings of Battles tournament from last year.
Yep. Innovation trying to bring his cleanest execution of the standard opener for Terran, but he's gonna try to bring some more might to his harassment to start and deal some serious damage. And these aliens are already a big clue to how aggressive Innovation wants to play this game. 6 aliens instead of 4, and they're gonna take 6 drones, and 3 of them are also going to escape, ready to establish a little bit more map control. And remember then that 3 aliens are able to quickly clear crypt tumors. And on Oxide is a little bit more difficult to clear creep once it has been established on the high ground. But if he can stop that from happening, as you can see the positioning of these aliens right outside of these rocks, exactly what I meant. If he's able to stop it from getting over there, it's going to be a very difficult time for Ragnarok to establish any map control.
Oh, he's got to be careful. Does not want to get wrapped around with these lings here. Oh, actually kind of forcing Innovation back towards the inner side of Ragnarok, and will lose all the Hellions. So nice start there, and this is what he needs. Ragnarok is down 0-2. He needs some things to go his way, and that was a good cleanup of the Hellions. So right now all he needs to do is just drone up if he wants to, but it looks like he might want to go for a big attack as he's making a lot of units here with the Bingling speed on the way as well.
Yeah, lots of key upgrades incoming for the Zerg player. Of course, Innovation doesn't really want that from happening, so he wants to just keep his opponent on its toes, but it's so much army going on for Ragnarok all of a sudden with a very strong economy to back it up. Baneling speed not done yet, he needs to be very careful with his army positioning, but meanwhile, in the bottom left, look at this run by, look at the damage. Crazy run by from Ragnarok. Also saves up most of these Zerglings while killing 8 SCVs, and a mule as well, I think.
Innovation gonna go ahead and find these lings once more, push them back. So far, things looking okay for Ragnarok. Although he's still probably okay. He does get his fourth base there. I was about to say, doesn't want to be in the same position as before, where he was like on equal basis as Innovation. But he does have his fourth on the way. Looks like Innovation is going to attempt to try to force the cancel, but Baneling speed has finished. Oh, he does force the cancel.
Yeah, honestly, I feel like that was the safest play for Ragnarok. He didn't commit for the defense this time. He's committed to another counter. But this is the sweet spot again of the Terran army. Once the +2/+2 upgrade kicks in, it's gonna be insanely hard for Ragnarok to do anything about it. And once again, he finds himself without a lot of crypt tumors spread on the map, waiting for that hive to be up. He needs to be very well positioned against these many tanks and marines, and needs to buy himself a lot of time. Oh, Banelings running past and getting a couple good connections, but I don't feel like that was an efficient trade. He needs more Banelings now, he needs more time, and his fourth base is in serious danger. Another run by going in the bottom left. He's gonna take some damage. Innovation, of course, but Ragnarok is probably gonna take more if he doesn't manage to make more Banelings anytime soon.
Alright, Ragnarok is definitely going to have to hold on to this. I mean, he cannot afford to lose any more bases. Ling counterattack will get 14 SCVs across the map, but does get cleaned out. So all he needs to do is just buy enough time, make enough Banelings and Lings, and force Innovation back. Can he do it? This is do or die at this stage.
This connection with the Banelings was already a pretty good start for Ragnarok to get these Vipers out. Vipers is not yet in the production tab, there's not enough gas. He needs gas, he badly needs gas. And now Innovation leapfrogging his tanks forward, while Ragnarok trying to set up a surround, trying to eat on 3 different sides. And here he comes, Banelings and Lings streaming through, trying to get the connection. So many Banelings, so many Lings. This is going to be such a bloodbath for both players. In the end, the Army of Innovation gets cleared, and Ragnarok is gonna start his +3/+3 upgrades very soon with Hive Tech up. Innovation still has the upper hand in army supply, not by a long shot, and as an ultra covered incoming.
Yeah, this is huge for Ragnarok. First of all, beautiful surround there by Ragnarok with his army, kind of mitigating some of the tank splash damage. But more importantly, he does hold on to that base, and like you mentioned, he does have the hive, which means he can get Adrenal Gland, he can get the Ultralist Den, which it looks like he is about to be done, and that is going to be huge for him because a lot of Innovation's armies in those Marines, and having a good amount of Ultralists to chomp away at those Marines, not a bad choice.
Yeah, but it's not a lot of gas income for Ragnarok. That means there's not a lot of Banelings. That's still a tough army to deal with. And these Zerglings don't have +3/+3, don't have Adrenal Glands. They're not gonna trade that great into their army. As you've seen right here, Banelings are very important, and you cannot engage without those. Banelings trying to get on top of these Marines. Very good splits by Innovation. Still not gonna be enough. Losing many of those Marines. Medivac's very low on energy. More Banelings coming. No Ultras yet in the production tab. He finds damage. He deals a lot of damage to the army of Ragnarok, who's back once again a lot behind in this game number 3 of the series. And now it's a very tough spot. 96 army supply against 39. No Vipers. very few Banelings and no Ultras. Liberators have come to bring freedom in the top right hand corner of the map. Can they do that? Marines ready to steam on top of this ramp. More Banelings in the production tab, but this is getting very out of control for the Zerg player. Widow Mines and Liberators, deadly combo to keep these units at bay, and there's not much defenses going on for Ragnarok. More Banelings being morphed right now, but are they going to be enough? I'm not certain about it. Another full round of Banelings streaming past the Widow Mines and the Liberators, and now the Queen's getting on top of the Liberators. It looks like Innovation is sent scattering, but there's no creep over there. These are units move very slowly out of creep. Adrenal Glands has finished. These Zerglings do pack a punch. 10 SCVs falling on the other side of the map to a very nice lean run by. But there's not a lot of defenses. Banelings not really finding the connection he wants. 72 army supply to 52. Ragnarok is ulting by the skin of his teeth. And right now he's finally making a move on the other side of the map. Ultras finally in the production tab. And Innovation ready to get his +3 infantry armor to survive a little bit more against those. Planetary Fortress trying to be constructed in the left side of the map. These leans, can they do it? Adrenal Glands is such a good upgrade. So much DPS going for these Zerglings. And Ragnarok looks like he bought himself a lot of time.
Yeah, and time is what he really needed. He is starting to make those Ultralists. Still not that much Ultralists onto production tab. There are still a good amount of Marauders into the army, but we do have a big, huge counterattack by Ragnarok. Let's see if he can hold and also get the counterattack to also do some nice damage at the same time. That would be very helpful.
Yeah, that is definitely a good maneuver for Ragnarok. Banelings are actually finding some crazy connections. That was a very solid defense while killing 23 SCVs. Innovation really losing control of this game quickly. But Ragnarok still needs a little bit more than what he has right now. These Banelings are never gonna complete. He needs to cancel those. The rest of the army is trying to catch up. These Ultras are actually zooming past these Marines. Very good splits on the side of Innovation. And the army of Ragnarok is sent scattering. A devastating misplay from Ragnarok. While Innovation sets up the perfect concave, taking game number 3.